That's our panel, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get each of them to give us a few minutes, and I'm going to kick off with Ruth. Ruth.
Thank you. It was suggested I might talk a little bit about getting started. As one of the earlier speakers said, it's sort of taken as a given that we're beyond the stage now where attendees at this conference in its third year understand the definitions of what the different tools are. But it's a constant surprise to me that being so, how people are still struggling with getting started. Perhaps with an initial experiment or initial pilot, they're putting their first toe in the water with one kind of social tool or another. And my short answer to that goes back to the beginning of the conference and Ronaldinho, which is really just do it. You have to start. I work for a law firm, and you might think that a law firm is the last place that would actually, in a business setting, be pioneering the use of social tools because of lawyerly concerns about risk, billable hours, all of those good things. But looking at the other way, actually, a law firm setting is an obvious setting for social tools because it's like any other professional service business, it's just down to the people. With a few exceptions, there are very few other products that we provide. So 3 tips. I shall limit myself to 3 tips in terms of how you might get started effectively. The first thing is to always start with something that has a business priority attached to it. The wrong question to ask is, do we need? Well, we must have a blog. How are we going to use this blog? Start the other way round. Think about some your business priorities and culture generally, and then look at if there are any of those business priorities that might be met by the use of one of these social tools or another. So one of the drivers for our initial experimentation with this stuff was the need to improve cross-border collaboration working across some of our global teams, to provide an informal knowledge-sharing solution for teams that's practice lent itself to that kind of knowledge-sharing rather than sort of more formal know-how documents and databases. And that's out of the 3, that is the most important tip. Focus on business priority. It doesn't just mean that you get started and you get focused and you achieve something because you're constantly focused on that business priority. But it means that hopefully when you are successful, measurement is easy because you can reflect on that business priority and assess whether it's been met. Second tip is don't make it hard for yourself. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're starting with, try and work with a group. If you're working on sort of internal networks or with an individual blogger, try and start with something that has a good chance at least of success. That means working with people who are keen, enthusiastic, but also working in areas where the risk management or compliance radar is not likely to be too intrusive. For example, in a law firm setting, one of the obvious uses of these kind of sort of social networks, social fora, is around actually the sort of core legal projects that we do. And I felt when we were starting this 3 years ago, if we kicked off with that, I'd be in meetings with risk managements probably still. So we started elsewhere, and that meant that when we began to have conversations about the more risky, the more difficult things, so for example, client-facing fora, public blogging, matter-related spaces, we had that body of success and experience which made those conversations much easier. And my third tip is linked to my first, which is make sure the tools fit the business purpose and not the other way round. Do not be technology led. As one of the earlier speakers said, it's fairly possible. Sometimes it doesn't drive me so, but it is theoretically at least fairly possible to buy or develop these things whatever you want. So don't buy the tool first and then try and work out how to use it. Do it the other way around.
Okay, thank you. Move on to Rich.
Tips, I've rather inconveniently seem to be losing my voice, so I apologise for that. What I'll do is I'll just give you a brief background into the journey we've come on and where we are now and some of the issues that we're facing, which maybe questions will come as a result of that. I think we're probably 3 or 4 years into our journey into using social media, and it started off by a small group of graduates just doing it, just going out, buying a server and basically making available blogs, not telling anybody, just making them available. And from there, we've gone through the process of speaking to the policy people, getting the buy-in from the right people, trialling lots of different tools, probably way too many, people introducing tools all over the place, left, right and centre, seeing which tools are popular. We've recently gone through the process of saying, well, there's too many tools, let's pick the ones that are the best, and then let's roll those out on an enterprise-wide basis and support them properly. Because the issues that we've had most of the issues that I've had with social media have been based on the technology, which is kind of perverse when you consider that this is supposed to be about simple, cheap, easy technology. But there's a lot of politics involved in the technology, I've discovered anyway. So where we are now is we have recently launched a corporate internal blogging platform based on WordPress technology. I mean, it is WordPress technology. We have a couple of wiki technologies, Confluence being the main one. This weekend we're launching an enterprise-wide social network within the organisation. We've had a pilot version which we've tried. So we've experimented to see whether there's demand for these tools. We've let people try different ones. In the social media speak, we've thrown things at the wall to see what sticks, and then we've taken away all the things that stick and given them the things that we want them to have, typical fashion. So we've kind of had a painful kind of period of telling people they can no longer use various things because in a corporation you can't use everything because you can't support it and all those things. So we've gone through that pain. We've launched tools enterprise-wide, and people are actually now starting to use them. So the issue for me is, I've been saying these things are really important. It's important that we let people use them, and I've been giving people all the reasons. I've been saying what change I think will happen as a result, and now, unfortunately, we've got to the point where the proof of the pudding is in the eating. People are starting to use them, so now we will see whether there will be value in these tools. We will see, now that they're being used mainstream, how they fit into the whole kind of ecosystem of our organisation, what impact they really will have. So those are the kind of things, very interesting. And the issues that we've got are things like governance now. We've got 500,000 wiki pages. We've got to govern those. All these pages have to comply with policies and all the rest, because this isn't the internet. We've also got issues of kind of shaking out in terms of who's going to use them successfully and unsuccessfully. We have an example of a senior manager with a blog whose comms people are writing it, and they've been flamed big style. So there's quite a bit of pain with certain users who are, people are experimenting and trying stuff. So there are people, I think now, particularly in comms roles, for example, who are starting to say, that stuff you were saying about our role might change a year ago. Perhaps you'd like to come back and we can have that discussion again, because I didn't listen the first time. So, there's quite a lot of change going on, but it's early days for me to say what that change will be. But I get a sense that now momentum is really building on an enterprise-wide scale.